Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada.
So we can read the translation, one verse. Each one of us can recite one verse. His lotus feet are served in devotion by multitudes of high virtuous souls. He is the establisher of the religion of the age. As Sri Krishna Sankirtan, he is the presiding monarch of the Vishva Vaishnava Raja Sabha, the universal society of the pure devotees that are the true kings or guides of all. He is the fulfiller of the most cherished desires of those who dispel fear for all souls. I make my obeisances to the lotus feet of that illustrious great soul, worshipable by one and all. Perpetually do I make my obeisances into the radiance emanating from the toenails of the holy feet of my Lord.
Oh, it's so low.
We cannot.
You can see that.
Okay. Okay, then I will read the next one. He's the leader of the fortunate souls, blessed with the treasure of internal pure devotion. He's the greatly merciful upon the fallen souls, being their only shelter, and his inconceivably holy feet are the shelter for the deceivers. By deceiving them, inconceivable holy feet are the shelter for the deceivers by deceiving them. Make my obeisances unto his lotus feet. Perpetually do I make my obeisances into the radiance emanating from the toenails of the holy feet of my Lord.
Like the moon that daylights the stars, he is surrounded by a circle of personal servitors, making their hearts bloom in divine ecstasy. The malicious non-devotees are made to flee in panic by the sound of his thunder roar, and the simple, inoffensive soul attains the ultimate fortune by accepting his lotus feet. I make my obeisances unto him. Perpetually do I make my obeisances unto the brilliance emanating from the toe nails of the holy feet of my Lord.
He has revealed the vast, magnificent beauty of Sri Gauradhama. He has broadcast the tidings of the supreme magnanimity of Sri Gauranga throughout the whole universe, and in the hearts of the fit recipients of his grace, he has firmly established the lotus feet of Sri Gaura. I make my obeisances unto him. Perpetually do I make my obeisances unto the effulgence knitting from the toenails of the holy feet of my Lord.
Is the eternal shelter and the universal goal for the soul surrendered unto Sri Gauranga, absorbed in the service of his Gurudeva, Sri Gaura Krishna. He wholeheartedly adores Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. I make my obeisance unto him. Perpetually do I make my obeisance unto the effulgence emanating from the nails of the holy feet of my Lord. Hare Krishna.
He is illustrious personality to raise the flag that sings the glory of Sri Revatinandana and Sri Raghunath. His glory is sung throughout the world, is not different from the powerful personality of fluent erudition, Sri Jiva, and he has won the renown of being one with the hearts of Sri Krishna Das Kaviraj and Thakur Narottama. And make my obeisances unto him. Perpetually do I bow down the brilliance emanating from the two nails of the holy feet of my divine master.
Number 8.
Bestowing his grace upon all souls, he is Ari Kirtan incarnate. As the associate of Sri Gauranga, he reveals Mother Earth of the burden of offenses committed upon earth. And he is so gracious that his endurance of all beings excels that of a father. I make my obeisance unto him, the mind of all his qualities. Perpetually do I bow down to the effulgence emanating from the toenails of the holy feet of my divine master.
Like a wish-fulfilling tree for his surrounded servitors, he fulfilled their hearts of aspiration. Even the tree is shamed by his magnanimity and forbearance, and great personalities who are competent to confer boons, they too worship his lotus feet. I make my obeisances unto him. Perpetually do I bow down to the radiance emanating from the two nails of the holy feet of my divine master.
No, not finish.
You can bring to me.
The crown jewel of the Paramahamsa, the prince of the treasure of the supreme perfection of life, Sri Krishna Prem, he accepted the robe of a mendicant sannyasi just to deliver the fallen soul. The topmost Tridandi sannyasi attend his lotus feet. I make my obeisances unto him. Perpetually do I bow down to the effulgence emanating from the toenails of the holy name of my divine master.
Holy feet. He is the most intimate follower of the divine daughter of Sri Vishwabhanu, and I know myself as the most fortunate by taking the dust of his holy feet upon my head. I make my obeisances into his invincible, wondrously purifying lotus feet. Perpetually do I bow down to the brilliance emanating from the toenails of the lotus feet of my divine master. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki
Jai.
Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Gaur Premanande. Today we will try to describe as an overview and go through the life of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Life in 30 minutes, which is impossible since even if Shisha will try to sing his glories, he will not have the time to do it during one time of lifetime of Brahma. So the glories of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur are infinite. Yet we will try to just grasp the surface. So, as you can see here, this is Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhav by Bhaktivika Swami. So this is the information that I will relate to you. He is born at 3:30 p.m. on the 6th February 1874, the 5th day of the dark lunar fortnight in the month of Govinda of the Gaudiya Vaishnava calendar, corresponding to the Bengali month of Magha. Interestingly, it says that when he was born, the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck. So as he was born as a Brahmana immediately, like an Pavitra. So, yeah.
They don't say where, but it's
He's,
Jagannath Puri, right?
yes, he was born in Jagannath Puri. Actually, before to come to the birth of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, it's good to mention that Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed for a son who will help him to establish Vaishnava Dharma. Because at the time of Bhaktisiddhanta's appearance, Vaishnava Dharma was in a bloom. There were Apasampradaya forming, and basically all the teachings of Shishi Guru Gauranga were lost in an ocean of nations. Even Chaitanya Charitamrita was difficult to find. It's because of the endeavor of Bhaktivinoda Thakur that we were able to find some manuscript containing the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and that he printed it, that today we can be there worshipping the deities and having the knowledge of the deities and of that biography. Without him it would be impossible. So he excavated the teaching of Bhaktisiddhanta, of Shishi Guru Gauranga, and the problem is Bhaktivinoda Thakur felt powerless in front of the task to do. So he went to Jagannath Puri as he was the temple president and one of the magistrates there, and he prayed to Jagannath, please help me to fulfill the desires of Shishi Guru Gauranga, to propagate the holy name of Gauranga, the tattva of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to re-establish Shri Krishna Sankirtan, Hari Bhajan. Help me to do that, because I'm alone, I cannot do it. So please send me a son which will help me in my endeavors. And as you know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had 14 sons. I think so. So he didn't know necessarily which one will be one of them. But when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur appeared in the world, then when he was still a baby in the cradle, then a few months after came the Rath Yatra, you know. So he's born in February, and Rath Yatra is around like summer. So few months old was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur at that time, and the cart, the procession, stopped in the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and the kid was on the first floor. So today you can still visit that house because this is a Gaudiya Math. It's possessed by the land is possessed by the Gaudiya Math, and temple is there, and you can still visit a few artifacts and so on. And to show that the ray of Vishnu that was waiting Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was there present in his family. They cannot stop the car, even though people tried to pull. He stopped for 3 days. So that was unusual. The parade is supposed to go and not stay for 3 days endlessly. And when Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur presented the child to Jagannath, Prasadam Mala fell on his around his neck, and Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur took that as a sign that that's it. The fortunate soul that will help me in my task to establish Hari Bhajan in Bharat is there now. I can continue my mission. So at an early age, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was placed by Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in Sanskrit school. And whatever Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will read, he will remind forever. And he could quote verbatim. Verbatim means word for word. Whatever he has read from the dictionary, from any source, anything. And he could also remember for a lifetime whatever you have said to him. So be careful. Bhakti Vikas Swami used to say, we like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but it must have been a great difficulty to be in his presence. So much, so he was qualified, You had to be careful what you say, how you behave, what kind of service, the quality of your service. So it was not easy to be around Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, especially because he will be straightforward. Many of us will not have the humility to be in his presence. So he was learning so fast that when he was in school, he would take prarthana from Narottam Das Thakur. And while everybody was studying Sanskrit, he would read prarthana in Bengali. So as an early age, he will know already 2 languages, Sanskrit and Bengali. Later on, he also learned English and so on. So when the teacher will say to him, so what is the mathematics that we are learning? What is the history we are learning? And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will close the prarthana and will say everything the teacher will need to hear, or the listen was going on. The teacher was surprised. That boy is not listening, but he knows everything already. So actually his teachers were mitigated about him because his intelligence was challenging for the teachers, and his capacity was also admiring. He was a precocious, he was a normal child. He was extremely unusual, extraordinary. Prodigy. So when he was growing up, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will learn more and more Sanskrit, and he will also study in astrological. His school, Sanskrit school, was also a hub for astrological study. So he studied Surya Siddhanta, and at a young age, his first book was on the astrological calculation, astrological tattva. At the time, at that era, the Western mode of the thought or vision of the cosmic creation was replacing slowly the traditional view of Vedic cosmology. So even the head of the universities of astrology were trying to cope up with the vision of modern society and try to, put aside the view of Vedic scale and vision of the cosmos. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took a mission to re-establish properly. And it's because of him and the help of Bhaktivinoda Thakur that we have the Vaishnava calendar. Because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he established that in the Surya Siddhanta there is some data that have to be actualized regularly. So he did all the calculation and presented his work, and it was accepted. But it was so challenging to the head of the school that the head of the school told better he leave the school. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left the school at an early age, and he was also helping Bhaktivinoda Thakur engage him in writing, correcting his books, and on the same time he will train him into printing. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur showed to Bhaktisiddhanta everything about the printing press. He knew how to repair it, he knew every screw, and he could even undo the screw and take all parts of the printing press and reassemble them together. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was not only an intellectual person, but he was a practical person when it comes to books. He was not only writing them, he was also organizing everything to produce the books. And when he was without schooling, he felt he had to find a job, and he did not like the idea to be maintained by his father. So he found a job because of his father. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was connected to the king of Orissa, and so together they engaged Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur the service of the king, and the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was writing the novel or the news of the palace, or the history of the dynasty of the king. So he was writing what type of king have done that in his dynasty and things like this. And for years and years, he writes many things for the king about the glories of his dynasty, what should be told to the citizens, and so on. And because there were many political disturbances, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur decided to retire from that. So at that time, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was now discovering the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they moved to Calcutta and then to Navadvip to oversee construction of a building and oversee a possible arrangement to maintain the place and so on. So at that time, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur not only was helping his father to re-establish the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but also he was looking for a spiritual master. And his father told him that now, after 30 years of bhajan in Vrindavan Dham, there is a saintly person coming to Navadvip, because he wants to see the real birthplace of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he will visit us, take association with him. He's a Paramahamsa Vaishnava. That Vaishnava was His Holiness Gorakishore Babaji Maharaj. And Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj is described by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as the battery. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the boat. Without the battery, the boat cannot advance. The boat is doing many noise. But the battery we don't hear. The battery supply the power. Similarly, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will say, me and my spiritual master, we are not different. We have the same intent to spread the glories of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Krishna Kirtan. I'm doing many noise, but the source of my power is the blessing of my spiritual master. But Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj just have to sit and calmly chant Hare Krishna to change the world. But since I don't have that potency, I have to go door to door. So that was how Bhaktisiddhanta glorified his spiritual master. And it's described that Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj was impressing the son of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, because sometimes the first time he saw him, he was clad in a tiger skin. Can you imagine? Tiger skin. Or deer skin. Some animal skin, you know. And sometimes he will see naked, wandering here and there. Sometimes he will see just a long cloth. But Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj was, for only possession, he had a lota with some puja paraphernalia, that holy. And this, someone called Bhagavan Babaji Maharaj gave to him. Otherwise, by himself, he had only a japa. That's all. When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur saw such a personification of renunciation, sometimes if Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj will not find some grains on the field, he will take dirt and hit, and he will say that the holy dust of the dham. It won't affect me. It will glorify me. That's what he will do. So Bhaktisiddhanta, he considered I'm jnana is vijnana. I'm in the knowledge is the practical demonstration of that knowledge. So he came to see him and he says, please Guru Maharaj, initiate me. And Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj said, I will ask to Gaurachandra and we will see what he says. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came the day after and says, what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? Oh, I forgot to ask. Come later. A few days after he came back, he says, what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say to you? And Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj replied, he did not give his order. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was devastated, and in few days after a moment, he came to see his Guru Maharaj begging, offering dandavat, and he says, Jogyata vichare kichunai pai tumara karunasar karunanare kondia pranara kibo ara. So he says, I'm nothing, you are everything. Without you, I cannot survive. You have like my life air. So please bestow your mercy upon me. And seeing the dedication and the determination of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj accepted as his own disciple. Why Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj will not accept any disciple? Because before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had one disciple. But that disciple left and break all his vows. So he told, I had one person who came as a disciple, and he was a cheater. He cheated me. He did not take seriously his vows. So no, I'm not taking anyone. It is so. This one is serious. So Actually, Gaurkishore Babaji Maharaj had two disciples, only one was the real son. Similarly, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he left his body, later on, he said to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, "You are my only son." So please, I give you the instruction, maintain organized parikram of Navadvip. You have to create a parikram of Navadvip. Establish the holy place around Navadvip and organize a parikram. It's one of your missions. You develop Mayapur Dham. You maintain what are the Yoga Pit. That you do as well. Then you have to preach the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu everywhere. That you have to do as well. So that was one of the mission. And also, Bhaktivinoda Thakur especially mentioned to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, after my departure, I want you to spread all the devotional books and literatures everywhere. We have to do it. And still, that order has been carried out in our Sampradaya through the medium of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So originally that was the instruction of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And sometimes we see Gaurkishore Babaji as being a reclusive Bhajananandi. But actually he was like that, but it's not that he was judging the Goshtyanandis, the preachers. Rather, he will see the need for people to go out and preach. So he has ordered before his departure, Gaurkishore Babaji, he has ordered to Bhaktisiddhanta, you go and preach Hari Bhajan everywhere. You establish Vaishnava Gaudiya Dharma. That you have to do. But in the same time he gave also 3 orders. Don't go in Calcutta. Don't associate with mundane person and don't do any disciples. So Gaurkishore Babaji gave 2 contradictory instructions. You have to preach everywhere, Gaur Dharma, but in the same time you don't have to go to the city, you don't do any disciples, and you don't associate with karmis. So how do you reconcile this? Then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur answers, I reconcile this. When I'm going to Calcutta or any city, I'm not going into Mayadham. I'm going into Vaikuntha. Wherever I go is Vaikuntha. Because I preach the glories of the Lord and then it's transformed. I'm not in anxiety. I'm totally peaceful. So I'm not in Kunta. Akunta. So that's wherever I go is the Dham. First instruction, reconcile. Second instruction, I'm not doing any disciples, they are all my gurus. Because when I see their good behaviors and their good service attitude, they inspires me. Second instruction, reconciled. And third instruction, don't associate with karmis. I'm not associating with them because associating is to take. I'm only giving something to them. Third instruction, reconciled. In that way, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he satisfied all the wish of his spiritual master without contradicting his apparent paradoxal orders. And further on, before the departure of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gaurkishore Babaji Maharaj, they went to Puri and in the South India to gather many scriptural teachings, and especially Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will spend a lot of time in Govardhan Mat. In Puri there is one of Shankaracharya Mat. I don't know if you went there, but basically this is one of the 4 main mat of Shankaracharya. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will spend his days there. Why? Because he will ask to Madhusudan Saraswati Thakur, the Mahant, the sannyasi in charge, all the books. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will read all the impersonalist books in order to get the philosophy right and to find all the arguments to cut down the impersonalism. So he was spending so much time there that some of the friends of Bhaktivinoda Thakur thought he has changed current. He has converted to impersonalism. He's not a Gaudiya Vaishnava anymore. But no, it was not like that. He was an infiltrator. He was a spy. In Puri, also, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur expressed his desires to do bhajan next to the samadhi of Haridas Thakur. There, he also took in charge, by the arrangement of his father, of the deities of Jagadananda Pandit. So, in the Giridhari Asam. So, next to ISKCON, there is deities of Jagadananda Pandit, Radha Krishna, and there, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will worship them daily. And not only that, he will give lectures. And they were Radha Raman Charan Das Babaji. Here, Babaji was created a mutative form of a Gaudiya Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He would chant Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Ram Nitai Gora Radhishyam, or something like Hare Krishna Hare Ram Nitai Gora Radhishyam. And that was their Maha mantra, you know.
Oh my God.
So every time, because this Babaji would like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Katha, he will come every day. But every time he will come, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would chastise him. Why you are doing this nonsense Mahamantra? Did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ever send that? Why do you do that? You are imposter. So follow Guru Gauranga correctly. But he won't listen, he will still come every day. At some point the tension grows so much because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will be more and more vehement in his preaching. So the story happens that further on, because this Babaji didn't follow the orders of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, did not listen to him, he felt really sick, really heavily sick, and he died in difficult situation. That's what happened when you offend not only the Lord, but the pure devotees of the Lord. Meanwhile, his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, told him, no, you have to take care of the Yoga Pit. We have discovered this birthplace, I want you to develop it. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says, no, I just want to do Hari Bhajan. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur answered to him, if you don't maintain and develop what Goachandra has given to us, then your renunciation is like of the impersonalist. It's false renunciation. So you go there and you organize everything. So that at that time that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took the vow of doing 1 billion names. It took 7 years to do the completion at the rhythm of 300,000 names per day. And not only that, he will do 300,000, that means 186 round or something like this, you know, really high numbers. 64 multiplied by 3. So 192, I think so.
Yes.
And not only he had that, but regularly would hold kata to dismantle especially impersonalism, and second thing, Aparsapradaya in Gaudiya Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And especially caste rigidity and Brahmanism or Asuric Vaishnava Varnashram. So he will organize debate with the leaders of many groups. He will try to defeat them openly, publicly. So he will especially point at the impersonalism and those who would pride themselves as being Brahmana by birth and not by qualities. So he will explain Vaishnavas, they are the gurus of the Brahmanas. Brahmanas, they are not the gurus of the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas, they are superior. Vaishnava, if he practice, then he is slowly and gradually, quickly raised to the platform of Shuddha Sattva, beyond the platform of Sattva. So he is naturally becoming a Brahmana. No need to be born in a family of Brahmana to be a Brahmana. But the problem is that Vaishnava Dharma would, propose financial threat to the Brahmana caste.
Yes.
So they will try to raise court case against him. They will try to beat him. At some point, while he was doing his 1 billion names of vow, there were a talk organized, and the Brahmanas, they bribe the police so they don't complain, and they organized a gang to harass. They bribe, they give some money to a gangsters, so they come and they beat dead Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. But somehow or another he escaped and he continued his vows. Many times it happens, also during the parikram of Vrindavan. It is at that time that he organized, also he went to Vrindavan and he organized with the leaders of Radharaman temple and so on a debate about who's who, Brahmanas versus Vaishnavas, who is superior. So Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, he won the debate by scriptural forceful argument, systematic presentation based on sound logic and Vedic scriptures. And he won first the heart of the Brahmanas.
Yes.
By glorifying profusely the nature of Brahmanical birth, the Brahmanical qualities, the Brahmanical status and services, how we are meant, everybody, to serve the Brahmanas, how Brahmanas are in fact the head of the cosmic representation of the social body, how Brahmanas are the most important in society and are served by God himself. He quote many times from different scriptures, and then when everybody was like, wow, he likes Brahmanas, in fact, he's not against. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati changed, and now he attacked. He attacked. So he used all scripture to say is actually Brahmanas are supposed to be like this and like that. They are not by birth. You have to be also, you have to represent the qualities of what is supposed to be a Brahmana. Then only we are Brahmana. It's not a question of a thread. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur will say, Brahmana, according to you, is only 2 paisa. You just buy a Brahman thread and that's it. You are Brahmana. According to us, it's different. You have to be someone. You have to represent a character, ideal character. So we defeat them, and it triggers reverence. When he won that debate, everybody in Vraj came and everybody was pushing to take the dust and wash the feet of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati. There was so much commotion that security and guard had to protect him from the locals. Such was the impression that he did by winning the debate. It was like incredible. Even the impersonalists were out by his incomparable erudition. So like that, and so soon after this, he established. So he helped to develop and maintain Navadvip and the different places of pilgrimage, but it's around 19, I don't remember the precise date, but in the beginning of the 20th century, then his spiritual master left his body. I think it's in 1915. So they left his body, and he had to protect the body of Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj. You know the story. So he established the Samadhi there, and he took sannyas little after because he saw no one qualified to give him sannyas. So he took sannyas in front of Gorakeshwar Babaji Maharaj and Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, and his preaching mission began to rise. And there he began at Ultadanga. Now ISKCON has Ultadanga. This is where Prabhupada actually received the order. You are an intelligent man, you know how to speak English, you preach in the West. This is where he received the order as well, so that was a change of history. Then after Ultadanga, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur bought the marble temple at Bag Bazaar in Kolkata. Then little by little everything spread around, but in the same time in the math political issues, because money came, and money is actually the residence of Kali. So quarrel happened. Who will take the room? Who will take the lead of that temple? Who will take the treasury? And he saw soon his sannyasis having cars, because they will think that if my spiritual master use car, then we can use car. But the mood of using cars and opulence of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was not to enjoy. It was to impress and invite everyone. It was a preaching tool. But the mood of others, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will say it's not like that. There is some mixture. So one day in Radhakund, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said there is fire in the mat. It was, if I had to do it again, I would better sell all the marble to print books. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was, according to the words of Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, he was so morose because of that, because of the parasitism, the destruction, the slow destruction of his mat, that he left the world more early than he was supposed to be. And because of that, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj came on his bed prior to the departure, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, please sing Rupa Manjari Pada. And while reciting sweetly that bhajan, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left his body, and it was so powerful that all the clocks stopped in the mat, in the different mat, something mystical. And one of the instructions of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur just before to leave his body is, our only goal in life is to become the dust at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Raghunath. That's our main goal. And one of the 8 instructions of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was, I want all my disciples to cooperate together. Somehow or another, you have to cooperate and not find any fault in each other's. Then only you can achieve my purpose. And this is exactly what Prabhupada asked when he left his body also. He was only carrying the same orders in the same mood than his spiritual master. He didn't invent anything. So like that. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai Gaur Premanande.
Express Revatinandana Prabhu ki
Jai.
jai.
Very good.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Oh, 14 people are watching the live.